Hey, this is Sarah Morrison and Franki Chan. I have no idea entirely how I met Franki. I know I was working at Cinespace as a hostess when him and Steve were still doing that night together, and I really had, no idea entirely like, who was Franki Chan, who was Steve Aoki, due to their ethnically ambiguous last names. I do remember like seeing Franki over and over again in LA, and like him just like sort of knowing who I was and just being like, oh, Sarah Morrison, like drunkenly like, you hate me, not so clear as to why, but like understandable. Frankie did like apparently made some appearance at Cinespace like one night, way after the breakup of him and Steve. I apparently like didn't make it due to the fact that I slept through the night. But I run into him like the next night at some party he was doing, and he was like, "Sarah, did you hear what it was last night?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I heard you were at Cinespace." And he was like, "Oh, like it's all over the blogs. Did you read the blog?" And I was like, "No, Dan told me." And then I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, Dan must have read it in the blogs." And he's like, "No, Sarah, Dan saw me there." Um, all right. Frankie actually one time tried to ruin my birthday party. Actually, this past birthday party, and I was like moving back to the East Coast, and in the car, like en route, seriously driving, and Frankie's like, "Oh, Sarah, like I'm gonna try to throw a party like the same night as you are," and I'm like, "Good luck with that. I've booked every LA DJ to do my party." And he's like, "Oh no, like you have LA riots." I mean, he's like, "Oh, you have La Disco. I have LA riots. Like you have Posh. I have Posh and Bex. Kind of thing." Yeah, he didn't do so well, and I don't think he actually did a party at all. He also didn't come to my birthday party, FYI. Let's see. Oh, so I did DJ interviews at a CMJ, really great. Frankie was like, probably my favorite to do. He yelled a lot. There was a megaphone. It was horribly uncomfortable, and I almost cried twice. The fact that I was kind of drunk, and it was stressing me out. So I did ask Frankie, Dimmock and, Wes, Mad Decent, like, people I care about what parties they were doing at South by Southwest. And so, when asking Frankie, he's, like, asking me 1,000 questions, like, because I'm, like, thinks I'm the CIA, trying to, like, get more info on him. And I'm just trying to be nice, like, being like, I don't want to throw parties in competition with Frankie's. And, Wes doesn't seem to know what he's doing, due to the fact that he's doing parties with Frankie. So luckily I get to, like, deal with both of them and the whole thing and the planning. And it was fun because it was even more difficult to understand what they were doing at all, because I had to deal with both Frankie and Wes, and they're sort of like sarcastic manner when dealing with me. Good times. But I will say that in relation to Frankie and Steve's breakup, I have said in a sentence, I don't know how many times, like I have used Frankie as a verb. I have definitely said that like so and so promoter, so and so DJ is trying to Frankie Chan you in this town. And I think it's funny. Love you, Frankie.